Good evening. My name is Malcolm Sneed, and this is my channel. This is called the Above Average Black Man. Now, I won't say unlike other channels, we're going to do something different. No, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but from a different perspective. My perspective. I will. What I want from this channel, I want to give my perspective of social interactions, current events. Look, current events dealing with pop culture, today's day and age, that kind of thing. I have tried, I won't say tried, I have been wanting to make this startup video for the last several days. I told myself, regardless, I was going to start this channel. Now, to tell you, I have 2 other channels, but that's not important. I was going to start this channel on this day, during this time, during this week. I have been wanting to do this more often than not. If you look at my shorts, I was supposed to do this 2 weeks ago, but I can only call it fear. I'm not even gonna call it procrastination. I'm calling it fear to start this channel. And I really had to rack my brain these last few moments on why am I so hesitant to make this channel. That's very close. Like, does my opinion even matter? This is the same type of feeling I felt back in my late 20s, early 30s. And it still has not left me. I have been in multiple conversations where I'm talking to somebody, and in the middle of a conversation, someone would co-opt it, and we would completely be off the subject that was started by me, or someone asking me the question, and someone just jumping in, and I would just completely forget what I was talking about. So having that fear of, does my word even matter, is very prevalent in this. But this is why I call it the above average black man. If you look at the description, I put this is not only a channel about my views on today's society, it is also a vlog. To get right to it, I am a separated 44-year-old back at his parents' house. I'm starting from level 1. I can't say ground zero, because if I was ground zero, I'll be on the street. Like, point blank period, I'll be on the street. Looking for resources, scrambling, going in and out of freaking homeless shelters. Like, that's bottom of the barrel. I'm on level 1. I have a foundation to start from. I do not intend to stay at my parents' house. This is just for me to get back to me and fixing what I already fucked up, but also continue a relationship with my kids, building a relationship with my my already separated but soon to be ex-wife, and rebuilding and rediscovering who I am and what I really want. Because for the longest of time, I've just been floating. In and out of what I wanted to do. For the longest time, I thought I was being an adult. Going to work, taking care of your kids, paying bills, the usual bullshit. No. I wasn't being a true adult. A true adult looks ahead to the future. And I simply wasn't doing that. And that put me in a very bad position. Also, I wasn't confident in myself. And I don't mean the kind of confidence you get just putting yourself out there and talking and getting to know people. Like, no. I'm a social butterfly. I go out, I talk to people, I say hi. My kids get it honest. I just want to say, hey, how are you doing and what is your name? The usual introduction stuff, because my kids are very, very outgoing. There we go. They're very outgoing. So they're going to talk to you. They're going to be upfront with you. They're going to be blunt. And it's cute as kids. My boys, very upfront, but I just want them to introduce themselves first. Break the ice properly. I don't want to take too long in this video. This is just an introductory video. Later on in the evening, I may put up another video. I mean, this is struggle streaming right now. I'm struggle streaming, but I am hoping and working towards growing this channel as many others. And in all honesty, I ain't got nowhere else. I ain't got nowhere else to go. In all honesty, is either do this or struggle from paycheck to paycheck. And I want to build something, not for me, but for my family. My boy's gonna have to go into this world that's getting crazier by the second. With Trump in office, he's going in there with a wrecking ball mentality. And strangely enough, even though I don't like the way he's going about it, I'm okay. Excuse me, I'm okay with it. Because in chaos comes opportunity. We just got to look for it. And with everything that's going on, if you're not paying attention close enough, you might miss the opportunity. So, the best thing for any of us, especially if you're black, especially if you're a black man, is prepare yourself to be in position to take control of crisis. Okay? Take control of crisis and create opportunities for you and yours. But back to the main topic, my channel. I had to write down the book. And the first thing I want to talk about is my life a little bit. My name is Malcolm Leon Sneed Jr. I'm about to be 40. And I am I don't want to say retired, because I didn't really retire. My contract was up and I left. A retired Navy serviceman. And no, I didn't have one of them super exciting jobs where I was going across the world and no. I started out as a deck seaman. More stories will come with this, but I'm just giving you a quick overview. I started out as a deck seaman. I tested for my rate, which was my job, became an aviation ordnanceman, and I got my rank. I was able to get promoted 3 times to E5. So I'm a retired, in Army terms, retired sergeant in the Army. But we call it petty officer in the Navy. I did reserve for about 6 years. Got out in 2014 when they were changing up things for the reservists. It did not jive with me. I could not get any help. Nobody was trying to work with me. They had changed up all the rules. Long story short, they wanted to turn reservistmen to full-term sailors and not give them any help. Everything would have been on my dime, and I was just a regular McDonald's employee. Yes, I worked at McDonald's. I was also a manager there. Got fired over some bullshit. And that started me on my up and down relationship with the employment offices. I have been a steel worker. I worked in the factory, worked in a steel factory. I have been a school janitor. I have worked for a couple of restaurants, fast food restaurants. I've also worked for a lot of small businesses. I've worked as a bodyguard. I've worked in landscaping, construction. So I'm pretty much a little jack of all trades. I even know how to change tires and brakes on a car and oil, depending on the model. I know how to change the oil in the car too. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like gardening, but I need my own space, and gardening takes time. So I've dabbled in it, learned a few tricks and run around here, but I'm like gardening. I am a separated father of 3 boys. 2 of them are twins. My youngest, he is my heart, but my other 2, like, all of them are my soul. I really love them, and I want to leave them something behind, my thoughts on life and everything. So when they get older, and if may not be here, I want to leave them a video record of my thoughts. Being married was not easy. Being married is not easy. If anyone tells you marriage is a scam, the legal institution of marriage is a scam. Marriage in and of itself is a commitment. It is a covenant. And if you are not true to that covenant, yes, a lot of things can go wrong. I've experienced them. And no, none of that big shit of cheating or infidelity or gambling or abuse. No. Like regular mundane miscommunication, not really understanding each other's wants and needs, that type of deal. That will destroy a relationship far slower, but it actually will go a lot deeper. It'll go a lot deeper. It will draw out a lot of bad things out of you when you don't have that sort of intimacy and communication that you need in a relationship. It just drinking and abuse and infidelity. That's the big stuff that people want to talk about. That people want to say, "Ooh, tell me more. Tell me more. Ooh, how long did you know he was doing this? How long? Like, how did you know she was like this?" No, no. Like monotony and mundanity will kill a relationship. When women talk about routine is boring, but it's also safe. So if you're in a marriage as a man, there is no problem taking your woman out for dates. The problem is if you're taking her out for a date, you set the priority. You set the parameters. When women say, "Hey, I would like to go out on a date," they want to break up into monotony. They do. But here's what they got to do. They can't be in your ear 24/7 telling you all the problems in the world. They can't complain about not going out on dates, but then complaining that the dryer is broken. They can't keep complaining about the sink. The sink has this leaky drip, but then they want you to go and pay for their hair and nails. And this is in your relationship. And the reason I say it like this is women are supposed to relieve your mental stress. You're supposed to relieve the physical stress, the tangible stress from them. And if you're doing it properly, them bringing up certain things in a list form, and you say, "Okay, cool, I'll take care of this, this, and this," and you hold your word to it, they'll feel better. Problem is, modern women, they just want to complain about everything. And you can't fix everything at once. You're not a genie. You're not a reality warper. You're not God. Just because they complain about it doesn't necessarily mean you got to run and do it right then and there. They're supposed to tell you their worries and their wants and their needs, and you prioritize them as you need it as a man. But modern women don't understand that. They're not supposed to keep bringing you complaint, and worry if you're in a relationship. And then get mad when you don't get anything done. You're prioritizing it on matter of importance. And you need to get them to understand that if you're in a relationship. That's why that's another part of this channel. I want to make my failed relationship an example on how to have a better relationship with your significant other. I don't want to make my channel about how women are bad and men are misunderstood or what. No. I'm going to give you both sides. I'm going to give you my clear point of view, not the truth. The truth is subjective. The truth is subjective depending on whose mouth it's come out of. As they always say, there's your truth, there's your story, their story, and the truth. So as long as we're all individualistic and we all have all these point of views, you're never going to get the full story. You're never going to get the full story until you hear both sides and come to a rational conclusion. And that's one of the reasons I want to make this channel. Another reason why I want to make this channel is my views on relationships and why they are not working. I'm still going to bring stats. I'm still going to bring figures and facts. And my opinion on why women see it this way in my opinion, on why men are reacting this way. It's not going to be about on why women should do this. And I'll be quite honest. If you're not dating them, you can't control them. You can't control them. If they're not part of your family, they don't have to listen to you. But vice versa, you're not obligated to protect them. As a good Samaritan, as a good citizen, it is part of our societal duty to watch out for one another and make sure that no harm happens to one another. Okay? Does that mean that you need to run into a street and stop somebody from walking into traffic and stopping for a car hitting them? No, but that's good. That is good. It's not required, but that's good. That's being a good citizen. But beyond just common courtesy, you don't owe these women anything. You don't need to tell these women nothing at all. Only the ones in your immediate circle you should prioritize. That can be your mother, your cousin, your auntie, and whatnot. You need to stand 10 toes down and let them know what they're doing is right or wrong. Especially if they talking some bullshit. If you got a young niece saying she got 7 boys on her DM, she don't like none of them, then, as you can, like, look, why are you wasting their time? If you have no interest in them, why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting their time? And she's going to give you the usual female rhetoric, but she's part of your inner circle. She's part of your immediate circle of influence. And just by talking to her and whatnot, it may change something, or it may spark something in her to reevaluate some things. Now, if her mother, being your sister, gets mad at the fact that you're talking to her about how she has her relationships, that's going to be her problem. But you can still stand your ground and tell yourself, like, look, she is entertaining several different guys, and she doesn't have any interest in one of them. It doesn't make sense to waste her time. Don't even listen to her when it's like, well, she's a girl and she needs to explore. It's like, no. If you're raising her to be a good woman, this is not the pathway. This is putting negative thoughts in her mind. This is her building negative behaviors by doing these actions. This is reinforcing negative behaviors and habits. And you gotta stand 10 toes down in it. You gotta call what is right and what is wrong. But it also goes for your for the male counterparts in your family. It really does. If you see something going on, if you see one of your young boys like entertaining several girls, and you know he a player, as much as you want to dap him up, you also gotta come straight with him. Like, I was like, look, I know you're young and you're just doing your thing. I understand it. And I'm not trying to raid on your parade, but I just want to give you some perspective. Let them know. Let them know. Like, look, if they know what it is and you're not promising them anything extra, like they're your one and only or not, it makes sense to enforce positive behaviors in your immediate circle. But for everybody else who's not in your immediate circle, common courtesy goes a long way, and that's it. You don't need to jump in to be Superman unless someone's committing physical violence. Then it would be conscious to call the police and ask questions from a distance. But other than that, common courtesy is the best thing you can do. Which leads to my views on masculinity, also dating. But first, the purpose of this channel is to give my perspective on, like I said, different topics in the culture, especially between men and women. Now, my views on masculinity. And to be 100% honest, masculinity was not in my vocabulary at all. I'm going to be 100% honest. Masculinity was not on my catalog at all. What do I mean by that? I mean that defining my masculinity knowing what masculinity is. Do I have it? Am I exuding it? No. Now, you said confidence, charisma, charm, how to be sociable. I understood that. But thinking about the term masculinity and all it entails was not on my radar at all until the last 5 years of my life. In fact, to make it even more powerful, the last 3 years of my life. Okay? I told you I'm about to be 40. So we're talking about from 37 to now. Okay? And to be quite honest, I can say with 100% assurity, I have only exuded my masculinity in certain situations here and there. I was not fully within my masculinity because I did not ponder it. I did not think about it. I was gonna say I did not think it existed. Okay? Because that was not part of my mentality. It was not part of my mentality. And so when you're not cognizant of something, it's just how like people say, like, if you never tried anything, how can you miss it? I never thought about masculinity, so I never missed it. But in these last few years of my marriage, I really had to think about what the fuck am I doing? And these past 2 years have been the worst. These past 2 years have been the worst. I got back with my wife at the end of 2022. We tried doing it. We tried working on ourselves. And in the first half of 2023, everything was looking good. Everything was working out very, very well. But after the summer happened and going into the second half of 2023, things started changing. She went back to work. And she started being far more distant from me since then. And it was a real problem for me. It was a very, very real problem for me. And it didn't get much better when I lost my job December of 2023. And all the year 2024, between trying to figure out where my unemployment went when I applied for it at the beginning of 2024 to getting a job the summer now of 2024, losing it the fall of 2024. Okay, it really put a damper on things, and that wedge that I noticed back in 2023 grew within September of 2023, and she never explained herself why she was so distant with me. And you can say, oh, she was talking to somebody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it put it in perspective of what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? I'm just running through the paces. I'm trying to find a job. I got a job. I had 2 interviews at the end of 2020 and end of 2024. And because my phone was turned off, because I couldn't turn it back on, her using my money to pay off the bills at the house to to moving back in with my parents. And after the Christmas season, it really cemented it. It really cemented it, and a couple of things here and there. But when you really question what were you doing during your entire marriage, it's understanding the parts where you fucked up. And masculinity is an important one because we don't, as black men, we don't really talk about certain existential and emotional things. For me, it never came as a question. Okay, I'm not one to diss someone's emotion. If you're feeling sad, I'm here. talk it out, get it out your system. I'll buy us a beer or a pizza, and we can just, chill out. All right, sorry, phone ringing. Okay, you don't really think about these type of deep emotional questions, these deep existential questions, which now within the past 2 years, that has been the thing. Actually, last 4 years since 2021. Really thinking about masculinity and all its traits and everything. And one of the things is that I want to say right here, right now, masculinity is not toxic. Masculinity is not toxic. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. We already have a word. It's called misogyny. Misogyny is not masculinity. Okay? They're two different things. Misogyny deals with deals with indifference. This is the like or disregard of women. That sounds like indifference. That sounds like plain straight up indifference. And most misogynists are the most charismatic, are the most charming, but they are narcissistic. They just don't care about female validation. They don't care. They know they can get women, but they don't care for or care about women. Which, sadly enough, most women, if you look at any reaction video on how women speak about the men that they choose, they're what we call the bad boys. They're the misogynists. They don't care about them, which makes the women care about them more. If misogynistic men are being misogynistic, these women are attracted to misogyny. Just like when they're talking about male privilege. There's certain benefits to patriarchy, not male privilege, my bad. Patriarchy. There's certain benefits to patriarchy that they like, but when it's not benefiting them, then they get upset. They're not talking about masculinity. They're talking about misogyny. And we really need to stop them from saying that there's such thing as toxic masculinity. No, we already have a word. It's already been defined. So there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. Masculinity deals with emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, like that word, and situational awareness. Okay? You cannot be masculine and throw a tantrum like a 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old. You when he's throwing a tantrum, he's upset. As a grown, mature man, you can't just start throwing a tantrum when you're upset. You can't. The outward aggression, the outward physicality. You can't do that. You can't complain. You can't assert yourself when something is wrong. When something is wrong, and stand on your ground and point it out. That's not the problem. The problem is when you're actively trying to harm or cause harm. I mean, I said the same thing before. When you're actively and outwardly aggressive toward those around you in a given area, you can't do that. You can't do that. Walking off, cooling your head down, punching a wall to get over it, but stating what made you mad and pointing it out, that's a part of masculinity. You're not supposed to take shit from people. You're not supposed to just be it and go boo-hoo, this person hurt me. No, you're supposed to, hey, no, that's wrong. I don't like what you did. I deserve an apology. You offended me. And standing your ground on it. Throwing a tantrum doesn't help your cause. Being masculine is getting shit done. It's knowing what you need to do, putting it into action, and getting it done. It's a process. masculinity is not about kowtowing to every one person's demand. It's about every one person's demand. It's about prioritizing in order of importance. You can't always please people, and a part of masculinity is understanding that. Once you prioritize what needs to get done, you don't have to worry about people pleasing. You're telling them this is what needs to be done. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. There is no in between. This leads me into dating. I do believe that if you are going to take a woman out on a date, the first interview is the first interaction. If she's feeling you, you feeling her, you want to get to know her, that is the first date. With that, I was like, then you plan the first date. But with that being said, she does not get to dictate where the fuck you pick and choose. She wants you to plan it, you plan it. She either accepts it or no. She wants you to pay, you tell her how much you pay. She either accepts it or she doesn't. And she has the choice to say yes or no. She has the choice to go or stay. If you're planning the dates, if you're planning the time period in which you're doing this, she has no other right other to say, yes, that sounds fine, or no, I'd rather stay inside. That's it. I do not believe in ghosting. I don't. I don't believe in ghosting. I don't think you should put out a full 10 paragraph paper on why you ghosting somebody. But I also do believe that if you don't feel right about keep engaging with this person, then tell them like, hey, I'm not feeling it. You know, I enjoyed our limited time together. I hope you have a nice rest of your life. You don't need to explain why. As soon as you say it's like, I'm not feeling the vibe, or whatever. And most men do it. There are women complaining when they text females and they say, well, he texts me back and say, hey, I thought about it. I don't feel like going. Sorry for wasting your time. Hope you have the rest of your life. And they're puzzled. Like, what did I do? You weren't her. You weren't her. You weren't her. That's just it. Either that or you were her and you did something that triggered him. So instead of trying to get over him being triggered and having it happen again, he ended it. That's just the way it is. But there's also the same thing as when you're not him. If ever you feel, and you know you feel this, that a female is not feeling you, be mature enough to say, hey, thanks for your time. Have a nice day. It's okay if you're not him. You still have many more options out there. You can go overseas, or you can just choose yourself and just keep improving on yourself, which I'm going to do. I'm not going to talk about my dating preferences right now in this video. This is introduction. But I believe that if you're setting a date, if you're going to play a date, then just go out there. Hell, I'll be quite honest. There's many times where I talk about an outing and a woman say, hey, why don't we do this? Oh, okay, cool. I have no problem being free for us to go do this thing. I have not. It's happened a lot in my life. Women say, hey, you free for this? I am free for that. And it happens. Every time I try to plan a date, something was up. Something happened. It is what it is. And just to let you know, when women invited me out, they were paying for the date. When I had everything ready to take them out on a date, they were like, oh yeah, I don't feel like it, I'm going this. I'm like, the fuck? Okay. So I don't feel bad. If I plan something out and you fuck it up, that's on you. Lastly, my time's almost over. Actually, no, it's not. my views on female behavior. I mean, if you want to be all honest, my views on female behavior, I don't worry about it. I don't worry about it. In our interaction with any female that I talk to or whatnot, depending on my majority, is when I call them a woman or a lady. They're all females. Their attitude towards me does not bother me. If I'm a jerk and they call me out to being a jerk, I'll probably be a jerk until I calm down and apologize for being a jerk. But if I'm not being a jerk and they're acting way too aggressive or they're way too loud and being absurd, then I'm just going to back off. I'm just going to back off. Like, oh, okay. You have a nice day. And I'm going to keep it pushing. I've asked questions back when I was in high school to certain females, and I asked them, like, hey, am I being annoying to you? Or whatnot? Because like I'm noticing the body language and everything. It's like, look, if I'm not your cup of tea, if you don't like me, I'll leave you alone. I learned that back in middle school. Okay? I'll tell you that story later. But if no one's feeling me, I'm not going to push myself on them. I've learned that and I kept it going and it's helped me out a lot. If you're not feeling me, I'm not going to keep pursuing you because it doesn't make any sense of me wasting my time to get you to like me. I'm not doing it. So I don't worry about female behavior. Okay? I just make sure that I keep myself in a position to where I don't cause problems. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. If someone accuses me of something, I'm going to stand there and work it out. You're not going to catch me running. You're not going to catch me running. So I'm not going to say that female behavior is not problematic. I'm just saying my reaction towards female behavior is very, very, very minimal. I'm not going to get mad. I may be upset that you caused an issue for me, but I'm not going to be upset that you're who you are. I'm not. I do like DMX says. I trust people to be people. Okay? If you're a thief, I'm gonna trust you to be a thief. If you're a liar, I'm gonna trust you to be a liar. I don't want to overcomplicate things. There is no part of human behavior where I have to overthink things. The possibilities are endless when it comes to human behavior. Whatever situation or societal stressor that made you do that, it is what it is. And I'm just going to give you my perspective on it. That's it. This leads to standards, boundaries, and expectations. And I can tell you this for sure. No man, especially a black man, was ever sat down and talked about their standards, boundaries, and expectations. I'm definitely not one of them. I was talking about what are my goals and what are my ambitions. Okay, but those are not standards. Okay, standards is what you impose on yourself and how you want to live. That is a baseline standard. Boundaries are what prevent your triggers. Or if you do get triggered, you just tell people, hey, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. And you say that's what it is, and you stand on those. That's what's called a boundary. Like, oh, nope, cannot go there. I will not cross that line. Expectations is what you expect people how to treat you. So, if I say, hey, how are you doing? I'm going to expect somebody to go, hi, how you doing? No more, no less. Men have never talked about their standards, boundaries, and expectations until they get older, until they became something, until they made a living for themselves, and they created a standard for themselves. Boundaries are those triggers and bad habits. I won't say bad habits. Those triggers that we have that we never really work through. And I think men having standards and understanding their boundaries, and creating boundaries and understanding the expectations that they expect out of people has really got females all up in a tizzy. A lot of female standards are just expectations, and their boundaries are dependent not on their standards but their expectations. And a lot of them are just parroting what other women, especially women of a certain wealth class, economic class, like it's really funny to be quite honest. I would say it's weird, but I'm not going to overuse that word. But it's really funny. It's really comical that women who work at Target or Walmart, very middle class jobs, are wanting the same, are expecting the same expectations as somebody who lives in Beverly Hills, not Los Angeles. No, Los Angeles too. Someone who lives in New York. Someone who lives in Miami. These very rich, high class areas. That's ridiculously overpriced, like hella overpriced. They're expecting middle class men who work a 9 to 5 to like everybody's gonna be a SoundCloud rapper or or social media content creator, and thinking that this shit is sweet. No, that doesn't make sense. If I'm making money in a business or I'm making money making content, that money I'm making off of content is not going to go into me if I'm really serious about this. It's not going to go. Sorry, sorry about that. It's not going to go into tricking off on a chick on a woman. It's not. And I know there's some social media content creators that's O'Shea Dude Jackson. That's one of them. He's hilarious when he says that. It's like, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna trick off on him. But he actually puts a lot of resources into his content creation. He does a lot of networking. He does a lot of things that build his channel, that build his media empire. Okay, so there is there is no room. I won't say room. There is no reason for somebody who is an entrepreneur to make all this money to just go give it to somebody else who ain't put nothing in. And it doesn't make sense. So I think really when it comes to females and their standards, boundaries, and expectations, they got it all confused. And there's nothing we can do about it. What we need to focus on is our standards, our boundaries, and our expectations. And in doing so, forcing other people to respect them. That's it. You can't force anybody to do something that you want them to do. You can't compel them. What you can do is stand in your square and let them know it is what it is. And finally, my last thing. Oh Lord. I think I mentioned this earlier. Emotional intelligence is just maturity. When I was talking about masculinity, I was talking about how masculinity deals with emotional intelligence, which is just maturity, situational awareness, and prioritization. That's pretty much it. But if it was a buzzword really, really big in 2023, it made its round in 2024 and it died in 2025. It had its peak in 2023. It started on its decline in 2024, especially after not Kitty Rose, but I forgot her name. Said like, you want a man who was tolerant, who understands your ins and outs and your emotional needs, but also this is also a man that will cut you off if you interrupt his peace. No fucking doubt. That is emotional intelligence, right freaking there. Emotional intelligence is understanding and having awareness of how you and the person in front of you relates. Okay, I fully understand that you are in an emotional state right now, but I want you to understand that I am not in a position to deal with that at all. I don't have to deal with it. I hope you take care of it and you resolve it. But as of right now, I don't have the emotional capacity to deal with this. I'm sorry. We can come back a little later date, and talk this out a little bit. But as of right now, I'm gonna have to ask you to go, or I'm just gonna be. I'm just gonna leave. And because of that, because of that, we find out what women really wanted. They wanted emotional tolerance. Tolerate my bad behavior. Tolerate my bad habits. Tolerate my emotional inconsistency. I want you to know I've been through all of that. I tolerated bad habits. I tolerated emotional inconsistency. And I've tolerated bad behavior. I've done all of that. And I said nothing about it. I tried to a couple times, but I always got thrown back into my face. And it is what it is. But more on that later. But I'm going to end the video right here. Hope to see you more. You have a nice day.